Thank you for contacting us regarding your home purchase. Typically, we like to meet with our buyers in the office so that we can better explain to them what exactly is involved in purchasing your home from A to Z. In addition, we also like to cover certain aspects such as closing costs, which a lot of buyers are unsure about, and then explain the roles that every different person plays: attorneys, loan officers, realtors, title companies, closing agents, everyone involved in a process. Since you couldn't make it into the office, what we would like to do is go over this presentation with you so that at least you get a little bit of a better understanding, and then possibly come into the office and discuss it in more detail with us. So here we go. So the first step when you're purchasing a home is understanding the market. Now, in the market, there's a couple of things that you should be aware of. There are salespersons, whether they're realtors or just licensed real estate agents, and consultants. My team and I, we consider ourselves consultants. We're not here to collect a quick commission. We want to get you into the home that you want, preferably on the terms that work in your favor, but if not, terms that are equitable between both parties, as well as assist you in saving money on closing costs, title, legal fees, and the moving costs. We're pretty much here to guide you along the whole process. Now, the second step is also understanding the type of market that you're purchasing in. There are two types of markets. There is a buyer's market, and then there is a seller's market. In a seller's market, which is the one we're in now, there is typically low inventory and high demand. And in a buyer's market, which we were in for several years after 2008, is one where there is extra inventory and very little demand. So very few buyers were looking to purchase, and a lot of sellers were looking to unload their properties. So it is obviously much more advantageous for sellers in the market that we're in. Now, you also want to understand the market conditions and the inventory that you're dealing with. Typically right now, the average list price to sales price ratio is approximately 99.2%. So to take an example, if we were to take a $600,000 sales price, $600,000 list price, asking price, times 99.2%, that would bring us to $595,200. So if you were to pay the averages, it would be $595,200. So that's what you could expect to pay. Now, when listing inventory is down, which it has been 36% from the same time last year, that is obviously hurting your chances in paying well below the asking price, which is why we are in a seller's market. Now, when inventory is down, obviously demand goes up. When demand goes up, prices fall in line as well, and prices go up, which is what leads to a seller's market. Now, many purchasers, when they're looking for a home, don't understand the importance of being pre-approved for financing. And one of the most important things is there are benefits to you as a buyer to understanding what the bank will lend you, as well as what you can afford. So getting pre-approved turns you into sort of a cash buyer. You know what you can afford. You've provided all your documents, tax returns, bank statements, banks run your credit, pay stubs, etc., and they can honestly tell you what they're going to pre-approve you for. This in turn saves you money. The reason it saves you money is because if you're scrambling later to get pre-approved with any bank, instead of having the time to have met with different lenders, you're going to go with the quickest one in order to get your offer accepted, especially in the seller's market. Another thing that a pre-approval does for you is it gives you leverage in a multiple offer situation. Typically what we see is buyers present offers with no pre-approval, thinking that they could afford a $700,000 property. Turns out they could only afford $600,000. So now they're out of the game. But you, being pre-approved, have that leverage and can make an offer with confidence. It gives you a lot of confidence with the ability to put in that offer and knowing that you can afford to purchase that home and you have that buying power. So it's something that is extremely important and should be step number one in your home search. Now, the next step I want to cover is buyer agency. Most buyers don't know what buyer's agency is. There are different ways that an agent can represent you. One as a customer, in which they don't have to give you any particular advice. They treat you just like a customer with respect, honesty, and integrity, but they don't have no loyalty towards you. They are not working on your behalf. They're really working for the seller. Most purchasers are not aware of this, and it's an important aspect to be aware of, because you want to be working with someone who has your best interest at heart, has undivided loyalty to you, and the only way to do that is by being your buyer's agent with a contract similar to when you sell a home. Now, 100% of my clients and my team's clients choose buyer agency. The reason they do that is because they want us to represent their best interest, to have their best interest at heart, and to work on their behalf, whether it's by getting the comps, working the deal to get it to be where it's in their best interest, or as fair as possible for everyone involved, and also to assist them with the whole process and answer all their questions. Now, the average list price to sales price that we discussed before was 99.2. The team's averages are roughly 98.3, so you are saving almost 1%. In the case where it's a $600,000 home, that could be $6,000. So there is a significant advantage to working with us as buyer's agents and you being our client. Now, our team just works with buyers. All the buyer's agents works with buyers, and they're able to see over 200 homes per month, which is a benefit to you because they know what inventory is out there. And unfortunately, there's not a lot in this market, but they can guide you, and we do work to see other prospects that are possibly looking to sell. We will do our best to get you into properties that are not listed or exclusives, properties that you may not be aware of. Now, we also have a buyer instant notification where we will let you know as soon as a property hits the market so that we can get you in there as quick as possible. Also the biggest difference is that we can answer you in paragraphs, not in sentences, because we don't have 55 people we're dealing with. We only deal with a certain amount of clients. We take the time to respond to you and answer your questions in depth, not yes, no. We don't do one-word sentences. We get back to you explaining what's going on and making sure that you're comfortable with the entire process. So that's one of the biggest benefits of buyer agency. Now, a lot of people always have questions regarding MLS, internet, how do we get paid? It's very simple. The way we get paid is out of the sales proceeds. Typically, most agents like to tell buyers, well, the seller's paying you the commission. Well, yes and no. The seller is the one physically cutting us the check, but at the end of the day, you, the purchaser, are buying the home and are bringing all the money to the table. So, although the seller is cutting us the check, you essentially are paying for all the attorneys, you're paying for the real estate agents, for the taxes, you're paying off the seller's mortgage, and you're most likely giving the seller money, which is the case in this market. So, in reality, the buyer is paying everyone. So, since you are the ones paying everyone, you should have representation to guide you along the process, although the seller will be the one physically cutting us the check because our commission comes out of the sales proceeds. All brokers have access to the same information. The most important thing is the speed in which they get it to you. Working for you as a client, we get you the information as quick as possible. That is our goal, to get you in the home you want to see, when you want to see it, if at all possible. Now, that's not always the case, but we do try our best to get you in there and have you get in there to look at the home and give you the best opportunity to make an offer on the home if it is a house that you are interested in purchasing. So that is a little bit about how that process works. Now, the next topic I want to cover is, why should we call you when we see a for sale by owner? You should call us first, and here's the reason why. For sale by owners are always willing to pay our commission. These are typically sellers that are not aware of how much they can actually get in this market, especially a competitive one like the one we're in right now, or also people that are just willing to pay less commission. So they're willing to pay some commission, they just don't want to pay a full 6% commission. When you call us, we get you in there and we negotiate on your behalf. One of the hardest things that people do is try to negotiate on their own. They don't really want to go out there and negotiate on the biggest purchase that they're about to make in their lives. So we're there as the intermediary, as your consultants, to advise you. We're going to guide you along the whole process. It's a lot easier to pay us rather than getting your own attorney to help represent you in the transaction, because when you choose between an attorney or a real estate agent, attorneys charge by the hour, and typically their fees are not cheap. So you'd rather pay a consultant on our team to assist you with the purchase rather than an attorney, because we work on the commission, and if the deal doesn't go through, we don't get paid. We move on to the next house with you and try and get you in there, where an attorney will hand you over a bill and say, listen, I worked on this for 15 hours of my time or my firm's time, and it was $200 an hour. So you're going to owe them a hefty bill, and at the end of the day, you have no house. So when it comes to for sale by owners, we always advise our clients, call us first. We'll get the deal done for you. Now, when it comes to shopping for your home, the average buyer right now is looking at roughly 5 homes before finding the right one. The most important thing and the most important key to finding the right home quickly is your feedback. If you let us know what you're looking for as we're looking at the homes, it helps us narrow down the prospect list so that we're not showing you homes over and over that you are definitely not going to buy. Now, the next thing you should be aware of is earnest money. This is a check that you write when you sign the contract. Typically, it's 10% of the purchase price. So you sign a contract with the attorney, and when you reviewed it, you hand over a check for 10% on a conventional loan if you're putting down 20%. If you're doing an FHA, 3.5%. If it's a VA loan, you don't put anything down on contract except maybe $1,000, which you can then apply towards closing costs. That is the standard. Now, when you're inspecting your home with the home inspector, we're inspecting the home for major items only. What we mean by major items is the roof, windows, mechanicals, boilers, furnaces, hot water tanks, the electrical, the plumbing. That's what we're really looking for, structural issues. We're not looking for a broken tile here, a missing electrical plate there. These are things that we've already seen, and we made our offer based on those assumptions. So again, we're looking for major items. And we do have a list of inspectors that we work with. You're free to pick any one. What we recommend is interviewing 2 or 3 home inspectors, similar to what you're doing with real estate agents, and then figure out which one is the right fit for you. Now, when you're going to appraise your new home, the typical cost is about $350 to $400. And the reason that you do this is so that you find out whether you're overpaying or not. Even though we've given you a good idea, the bank is going to tell you, yes, this home is worth what you're going to pay for it, or possibly more, or not. The good thing is that you know and you can buy that home with confidence, because the bank is not going to appraise the home for more than it's worth, and you know that you are not overpaying. And you typically pay that roughly in about, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks when we have an accepted offer, hopefully soon. But the moment you have an accepted offer, you go to the bank, you start the formal application with the contract, and you hand over that check. Now, once you've gone through the process of applying with the bank and you have loan approval, that's great, because now that means that you have a reason to celebrate. You have a full loan commitment. The bank has said you are cleared to buy this home, and it's a great time because it is a bit stressful, but now we're almost at the finish line. Now, when you go to closing, now that all your hard efforts have paid off, and to take title and get the keys, one of the most important things to remember is bring your photo ID, your checkbook for any miscellaneous items, and your attorney will also tell you what the final cashier's check to bring. As long as you remember all that, and of course bring your writing hand, you should be in absolutely good shape. Now, when you work with an agent, typically they're devoting their time to many people and they can't really get back to you in the time frame you're looking for. With us, you're working with a team. You're always working with a specialist. The benefits to that is that we have the knowledge. One of us is always available, and we can communicate with you in a timely and effective manner. Having more than one agent at your disposal for the same price that you would pay another agent is obviously a huge benefit and one that we pride ourselves in. Now, realtors wear many hats, whether it's making cold calls, showing homes, meeting an appraiser, lock boxes, making brochures, writing ads. They also research information, measure properties, input properties in MLS. There's a whole slew of things that they do. That can obviously be an overwhelming task for one person, and that's why we have a team concept. We pride ourselves on having the client in the middle and having our virtual assistant who works remotely, as well as our assistant here, who doubles as a client care manager. We have myself, Marco Gomez, who is generally dealing with mostly sellers, but I do work with buyers as well to cover my agents. We have Sherry and Robert, who are buyer specialists. Between all of us, we make sure that someone is getting back to you, whether one of us is in the field, another person may be meeting a buyer in the office. One of us will get back to you. And this is something that's very important because sometimes people work with agents and they say, oh, the person went on vacation, now I don't know what to do. Whether one of us is on vacation or not does not affect you because we are all here and we are all aware of where your home purchase is, what phase it's in, and how to get you to the finish line. Now, at the end of the day, you want to reach your goals and we want to help you reach those goals. Those goals are typically you want to get the best price for your money. You want to make sure that you're not overpaying. You also want to make sure that you're dealing with the fewest hassles possible. You want to make sure that it's a smooth process from A to Z. Even if there's bumps, you want to make sure that everything is addressed and we get you to the finish line. You also want to make sure that you purchase your home in the time frame you desire, not on someone else's time frame. We want to make sure that if you wanted to move in by June 30th, we're going to get you in by June 30th. Now, the reason that we've been so successful, obviously now that we're at the end, is because of referrals. They're the lifeblood of our business. We're always going to be asking you, who do you know? Whether it's work, friends, school, church, Facebook, Twitter. And all we ask is that you call us. If we're doing a great job for you, we hope that you can pass that on to your friends and your associates so that they will call us and we can continue to provide the same great service to everyone that you know. So now that we're come to the end, you can see the added value of working with us. You have a team. You have a love it or leave it guarantee. We also provide customer appreciation functions where we like to have our past clients and customers get together so that everyone can network and see each other and bring guests along as well. We also do work with certain vendors that provide discounts on appliances, cabinets, tiles, whatever you may need for any renovations. And also we provide convenience and one-stop shopping. If you need referrals for anything, any service provider, we do have those available for you. And of course, all of this is provided to you free of charge. Again, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully you can give our team a call. Bye-bye.